I'm a leadership coach, but I'm also a parent to an 18-year-old daughter. So in this video, I'm going to be connecting parenting and leadership for you. There are 5 concepts that I'm going to be sharing with you. Let's begin with the first one. So about a month or so ago, I was just having a chat with Sakshi about old memories and things like that. And she then reminded me of an incident which I have no clue about. It went like this. So Sakshi and I, we were sitting in our living room, and she had done something, and I was giving her a earphone. And the doorbell rang. It was the maid. Sakshi opened the door, and she came back to me. Obviously, Sakshi was in a foul mood. So I asked her, "What's wrong with you?" She said, I'm not happy." I said, "What you did just now was terrible." She said, "What?" I said that you are supposed to greet the maid. Why didn't you do that? She still made faces. Said, "Go and do it right away, and never ever miss that." So she went and she greeted the maid, and she says that from that time onwards, she has never missed greeting our maid, no matter what, whether when they are coming in or leaving the house. That is something that I've taught Sakshi. Whatever your mood, however you are feeling, your problems are your problems. When you are interacting with someone, your mood swings should not have a bearing at all. And besides, you should always be respectful of the people in front of you, whether it is the maid in your house, your security guards, or the peon in your office, whoever it is. Always be respectful of people. This is something which is important in the organization as well as your parenting. The second concept is related to praising and criticizing. Now everyone knows that praising should be done in public, criticizing should be done in private, and most people don't follow it despite doing it. That's another story. But what I'm going to be talking about is something called as the 5-1 formula. The way it works is that you should always praise someone 5 times before you criticize them once. Praise 5 times, criticize once. Praise 5 times, only then do you criticize once. Now this is a concept that you can implement in parenting, in your leadership, in any walk of life, even with your friends. If you have relationships which are under stress, usually what you will find is that this 5-1 formula isn't really in place. Just think about it. If you agree with me, just type agree in the chat box. Thing is that the 5-1 formula, there is no real scientific basis to it, but this is a good thumb rule which you can follow. Praise someone 5 times before you criticize them once. And you do it even in your parenting. Praise your child 5 times before you criticize once. Some parents can go overboard where they keep praising the child too much and not criticize ever. That is also not appropriate. So praising and criticizing should be balanced, but in a 5-1 ratio. The third thing is that give your child the opportunity to make decisions. There are small things depending on the age that you can give your child opportunities to decide. For example, if you are out buying a toy for your child, let your child decide. Of course, you can tell them that this is my budget, now you decide. Make them take those decisions. And now I'll tell you something even more important. Now this is for you, which is that afterwards, when there are consequences, some decisions will go wrong. So for example, the toy is substandard or the child doesn't want to play with it. Don't take away the right to make decisions. You should insist that they make the decisions. So sometimes they will goof up in their decisions, but you don't say, "Nah, I tried giving you the opportunity to take decisions, you're no good at it, here onwards it's only going to be." Never do that, because then you are stunting the child's ability to develop decision making skills. So always make your child take decisions. And I'll tell you something more. Don't hesitate to criticize the decisions, because sometimes decisions are just bad or wrong. Criticize the child for taking the wrong decisions. And also, if the child says that, "No, you're criticizing me too much, I don't want to take the decision anymore," don't allow that. Say that you will also have to learn to take the flak when you make poor decisions. And the same principle goes back to your office and leadership. One of the important facets of leadership is delegating work. When you delegate, you don't just delegate responsibilities, you also delegate some authority and certain decisions within the framework of the work and the organization. Some decisions should be taken by the people who are working on it. Again, if they make mistakes, don't take away the right to take decisions from them. Let them learn from it. If you want, you can give them some inputs. If you have to criticize them, do so. Of course, privately, but don't hesitate to criticize. But if they want to relinquish the right to take decisions, don't let them do that. Say, you will have to understand to accept the fact. Okay, so this is the third concept. The fourth one is your child, while growing up, is going to face a lot of problems. There will be times when the child will feel helpless. There will be times when the child is on the wrong track. Don't solve your child's problems. Many parents have the temptation to go in and fix a problem before it occurs. Don't do that. If your child is having a fight with his friend or her friend, let them deal with it. You don't have to get involved. If the child is not able to connect with the teacher, ask your child to go and speak to the teacher. You don't do it for them. Only in exceptional situations where there is physical threat or threat to existence itself, those are times when you can step in and solve your child's problem. Otherwise, avoid doing that. Similarly, at the workplace, don't solve all problems. Let people sort it out themselves. So, as a leader, whenever someone comes to you and says, I have this problem and that problem with such and such person, the first question to ask is, did you try to sort it between yourselves? If yes, what happened? If not, go back and do that first. Come to me only as a last resort. It is always very tempting to clean things up, to fix things. Avoid that temptation, because if you are tempted and if you do that, you are stunting people's growth. Whether it is your child at home or whether it is your subordinates in the office. Don't let that happen. And lastly, don't try to be a hero or heroine to your child. So in my case, my daughter knows everything about my childhood. So how all the goof ups, all the pathetic things that I have done, I've told her everything about it. I don't try to project in front of her as if I'm the best. So whenever I give her any advice, I don't say to her that we were so good and you're so useless. I don't say that. In fact, I do it the other way around. I say to her that don't make the same mistakes that I made. So don't try to be a perfectionist or project the image of a perfectionist in front of your child, because children can see through. They can see through that bullshit. Maybe at the initial 8 years, maybe up to 5 or 7 years of age, they will probably accept that you may have been perfect, but after a while they can see through these things. So don't even try to be a hero or a heroine in front of your child. The same thing applies at the workplace. Don't go around saying to your subordinates that how good you were, how perfect you were when you were in their state. You weren't, right? We all know that. None of us were. So just tell them of the goof ups that you made. You will seem more humane. You will seem more approachable. And whenever you give any advice, whether it is to your child or to your subordinates, when they see that you also have been imperfect in your life, they are much more receptive to such advice. So these are the 5 tips that I have for you. Hope these are useful. I'm a leadership coach. I conduct free webinars on leadership. The link is given along with this video. To register for my free webinar, and I'll see you there. Cheers. Bye.